sing. I don't know which way to go. Let me say that if you are all that you see.
All right, greetings. This is Tommy Eckert coming at you live from Apache Junction, Arizona. Perception of how our mind works, how we think, is the first step. And so it has to do with how we learn. And there's a word, neuroplasticity, and that's when we learn anything at all. The brain does a chemical, structural, and functional change to both our short and long term memory. And so we will be perceiving things, and this is just the first of the lessons. There's a total of 9 lessons. 2 of them are perception. And what happened when those disciples were walking along the road to Emmaus? So, by way of unveiling the reality, the perception is ability to hear, see, or become aware of something through our 5 senses. So this is a sensory awareness of our reality of the world. Now, today I'm going to talk about on that awareness. We've got 130 million light sensitive cells in our retina. And so what they do is they make predictions. We look at something, and even before our memory kicks in, our brain makes a prediction on what we're seeing. Now, there's an enemy out there that wants to warp the truth. And so on the road to Emmaus, we're using good Pampers to protect us from what we're going to find out today: the illusions, the occlusions, the hallucinations, and then the delusions that might happen if our enemy is working. So, an illusion, very simply, is a misleading perception of reality. There's a gentleman named Edward Adelson, and he had this checkerboard illusion. And the idea was the squares, you can see on the graph, both A and B at the lower right-hand corner, A and B in the upper left-hand corner, they were the same color. But our mind fills in blanks. And so in order to predict or to preempt some of the information that's going in, some of the data, our mind will actually cause an illusion to happen, and it's just a misleading perception. Optical illusions are fascinating. Um, this particular one, upper left, we've seen this hopefully a lot of times. Is it the old lady or is it the young lady? And depending on our eyes, um, we might see different things. Lower left, a bird in the bush. Real simple, but we didn't pick up on the double the because we don't expect there to be 2 words in the same, but it's so symmetrical that our mind just jumps ahead and predicts that there's only 5 words in that phrase rather than 6. And of course, I like this whether it's an old man or a caballero on a horse. They can be, the Lord tries to make our path straight. And this optical illusion was just done by paint. This is actually a flat uh, hallway, but because of the paint and the squares and how we're looking at it, uh, our perspective is changed because of our perception of what's going on with the squares. And so I think there's a verse that we had a previous screencast that had to do with epignosis and the word yada, to know God. But Proverbs 3, 5 and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Now, if you pause there, not on your own understanding, your wisdom, what you see, don't be tricked, don't be fooled. And because of any illusion, occlusion, possibly a hallucination, that will drive you to a delusion. And so, in all ways, acknowledge him and he will make your path straight. Paul talks about it in his letter to the Colossians about how important it is to acknowledge Christ as the object of all of your learning. So, but the enemy has a trick of occlusions that we're going to talk about, and then causing us from hallucinations. So these things are how he messes with our mind, gives us blind spots, and an occlusion is a dental term of all things. It's hiding. So your bottom teeth here are occluded because of your top teeth. And so it's a blind spot. You can be looking at something, but behind a particular piece of furniture, particular wall, those objects occlude or shut out what we can see. So the enemy uses that, I believe. Sometimes the common term is a blind spot, that our eyes in the diagram have a blind spot built in where our 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 mind fills in the information based on what we don't see, but it photoshops, mind shop, hallucinations. These are false perception of our senses. And so we can start at the bottom here. This graph lists 6 of them, but uh, hypagogic. Those are your inner voices that you're quote perceiving or hearing a non-existent voice. It could be a sensation if it's a tactile, olfactory, a smell, visual or auditory, and so those hallucinations are something that happen. And on our walk along the road to Emmaus, the Lord is trying to remove any type of hallucinations that might be happening, however they're sourced, but taking that away, standing firm in trust, and seeing only Him. Not what we think should, would, could, might, ought to be seen. These are things that are actually truth. So the next after hallucination is delusions. And the delusions are something that, well, we we form a belief. Now, it's a firmly held false belief that persists, even if we've got clear evidence that's contradicting it. There's evidence for Christ, and there's evidence for, we'll say, a creator. But yet, the delusion of evolution and the lie persists because it is a derangement that we just cannot believe and have trust that God is the creator God. And so with these delusions, I put a verse up with John. Um, Jesus says, "You're of your father, the devil, and the lusts of your father is what you do." And so there's a lust there, there's a desire, there's a craving for lies. Now, he is a father of lies. He was a murderer from the beginning, and he does not dwell in the truth because there's no truth in him. And so, just on our road to arrive at Emmaus Junction, we need to know that the enemy is out there searching to steal and to kill and to destroy. He wants to devour anything that we have that is of the truth, and all of our thoughts as they're good and pure and lovely. Then he wants to be there to take that away.
But our mind is always perceive them as different objects, different things. Why? You know what? There's a delusion in our mind. There's a misunderstanding in our mind. That's why you always perceive them as two different objects, two different things.
Four instances in the Bible, and these are these are tools so that we can avoid any illusions and delusions that if something's occluded to us or taken away, how do we get around that? And in one is that we're sold out on Jesus Christ. We have one purpose, a singularity of being, and that is that epignosis. There's a couple words. Matthew has his word, and it's tadzo. He only uses it twice here in chapter 14 and then in chapter 28. But Jesus said to Peter, he said, "O ye of little faith, why did you doubt?" And it meant to stand divided. The doubting wasn't that Jesus was Lord, but as he looked out on the water and saw that the Christ, his rabbi, was right there walking on water. But then he looked at the water and he held competing ideas. And so as we're arriving to the Emmaus Junction, we don't want to be unstable. We don't want to doubt and mix in wisdom of the world, wisdom of what our neighbors say, wisdom of what we read in the newspaper or on a podcast. Um, and so the doubting is not from heaven, it's from below. And so the enemy wants us to doubt and say, what did he really say? For instance, since Eve in the garden, did God really? And then have her start doubting the goodness or any attribute of God. So, and then James, he uses a different word. It's dipsukos. He only uses it twice. So Matthew uses his doubt twice, and James uses his doubt, and it's rendered double-minded in the King James version, and it says a double-minded man is unstable. They're really synonymous. They're saying that we cannot hold truth and mix it with the lies of the world. You either have a biblical worldview or you have a secular worldview. You're either for him or against him. No fence straddling, no sitting on the fence. So, appreciate you watching. We're all on this road. We pray that you open the eyes of our heart. And just a quick commercial. I gotta, as we build each other up, quick commercial for R.C. Sproul's Ligonier podcast, Renewing Your Mind. It is amazing how he can use God's powerful word to help transform us so that our interactions are not just transactions, but the exchange that happens, that our hearts are made new.